Welcome to episode 4, as today I talk about preseason quarterbacks that I've talked about in earlier videos and how they will perform in their first NFL game and crazy college football games of week 1. So let's get right to it. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, I believe they were drafted because of how they perform in tight games and late games, game-winning drives, perform under pressure. So Bryce Young, I believe he was drafted first overall because of how mobile he can be in the pocket and his football IQ, and how he will have to do that against a divisional game, week 1, first NFL game against the Falcons, who have a young but a veteran voice in Jesse Bates III, leading to a good defense, and how we'll have to overcome and not let it slip away, give up interceptions, give turnovers, and how he will have to perform under pressure. And I don't know if he's ready for it. First game is tomorrow, Lions and Chiefs, and then Sunday at 1, he plays his first game against the Falcons, and I think it's really important for him to show the world that he is ready in his first year, and it'll be very interesting for all three of these quarterbacks to show if they're ready for the NFL or not. And CJ Stroud, he versus the Ravens at the same time on Sunday. The Ravens are not a young team. They have a great wide receiver core. OBJ, Zay Flowers, Rashard Bateman. They're not going to fail. He has to match them on offense. And I don't think he's ready for that. I don't think the Texans are ready for that. So he has to show everybody that he's ready for the NFL as well. And that'll be a huge something to watch on Sunday. And Anthony Richardson against a divisional game against the Jags, who again is not young, found their guy in Trevor Lawrence. I believe the Jags will be great this year. And Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, they have to prove that they're not going to get blown out in week 1. Like their first NFL game, they're not going to have a terrible stat line, and they're going to keep it close and maybe even win the game, because that's why they were drafted. They were drafted and put in QB1 to win games, and they have to show the rest of the world that they can get it done. 2 of them divisional games. CJ Stroud has to prove that he can go up against a playoff contention team and win. So I think that's a huge thing for all 3 of those quarterbacks in week 1. Crazy college football games of week 1 were the 3 teams that were ranked and got their losses in week 1. TCU lost 45-42 to Colorado, an unranked team. LSU lost 45-25 to a ranked team in Florida State. They were ranked 8th. LSU is ranked 5th. Clemson, who is 9th, had the biggest upset in Duke history. Fans storming the field, as you can see right there. Crazy game last night, very late, but they lost 28-7, and I think they lost because of Duke's special teams, as you see right here and right here. To my right, the blocked kicks and deflected kicks on Duke's special teams, forcing Clemson to not put points up on the board, and the wonderful run by Riley Leonard over here, escaping the sack and running 44 yards for the touchdown. Duke played phenomenal at home and completed the biggest upset in Duke history for football. So that was an amazing game to watch. TCU was ranked 17th. LSU, as I said, was ranked 5th. Clemson was ranked 9th. And they get their first and hopefully only loss of the season in week 1, because everybody's watching you now. You're watching to make sure that you don't lose again, because then you have no chance of a college football national championship. And the top 25, anybody can do it. But once you get more than one loss, it becomes very hard and almost impossible, as we've seen over the last years. TCU lost because of an offensive battle. Shedeur Sanders went 37 for 46, 510 yards, which is a school record. First game with Colorado, he breaks the school record for receiving yards or passing yards, and 4 touchdowns. Travis Hunter, he had 1 INT as playing QB, 119 receiving yards and 11 receptions. That's insane. He did not get a touchdown on offense, but he did stop a touchdown on defense in the red zone, completing the interception, which was huge for Colorado's victory over TCU. LSU said in the beginning of the week they were going to beat the heck out of Florida State, and they did not. They lost by a lot to FSU. And I believe Duke won because they were home. TCU should have won in their own building, but LSU wasn't away, and Florida State wasn't home. It was a kickoff game, and everybody's watching those games to see who's the better ranked team, and that was a big game, week 1, and they didn't show that they could hang with the top 10 teams in college football. So I think they have a lot to prove in week 2 and for the rest of the season, to be honest. So, I mean, they were all handed losses in week 1. They were all ranked teams. Like, when you're a ranked team, top 25, it's time for you to show the world, and they didn't. So they have a lot to prove next week. So that's crazy college football games of week 1. Back to the NFL. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson. How will they do? How do you think they will do in their first NFL game? Tough opponents. As I said, Ravens, they did not have a successful year last year. They have a lot to prove on both sides of the ball. So they're going to come out on fire against the Texans, and I think they got that one. C.J. Stroud, I don't think he's ready against the Ravens. He has a lot to prove to the world. Again, he could prove me wrong. He doesn't have that many offensive weapons, but he knows how to run the ball with his feet. Dameon Pierce could get him some yardage, get some first downs. He's got that Alabama wide receiver, Mitchie III, who was hurt last year, battling cancer. Really cool that he beat cancer. Just like to point that out. I mean, he's young and he's a weapon, but you cover that wide receiver, you get to the quarterback, and I believe that the Ravens have that. Falcons, they brought in Jesse Bates III from Cincinnati. That was a huge offseason move by the Falcons because they needed that veteran voice, as I've been talking about the last couple of weeks, for Terrell and for the rest of the defense to show that the Falcons can put up a little less points defensively and win games because of their defense, like we've seen with other NFL teams like the Giants, the Jets. The Jets were a competitor for most of the year last year, and then they didn't have a quarterback. Now they do. There's so many questions going into week 1, and it's very exciting to see how these new quarterbacks will play. Does Aaron Rodgers still have it? It's a lot of big questions. Let me know back down in the comments. Thanks for all the support I have already. I'm very excited for the NFL week 1. College football week 1 was very exciting. Again, thanks for all the support. Thanks for all that watch. If you like, comment, subscribe, and very interesting week 1 for college football. Very interesting ahead for NFL, and let me know who you got, Lions or Chiefs, who comes out with the week 1 Thursday night football. First game, win. Thanks for watching, and just as always,